The Peskin Report is sponsored by High and Happy Catering out of Springfield, Massachusetts. Their chef, Michael Best, can cook anything you want with or without being infused with cannabis. Check out some of what they make on their Instagram at High and Happy Catering or call them at 413-785-8999. You'll be happy you did.
Welcome to the Pesky Report, a podcast for Red Sox fans.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Pesky Report. This is episode 137. I'm Ed Hand, and we're going to have a great show about the minors today. We used to be doing Green Acres as a separate show that was just going to be on YouTube, but starting now, we're going to be doing one of these a month, focusing on the minors. So again, I'm Ed Hand. I'm here as always with Tim and with Brad. How are you guys doing today?
As always with Brad, Tim shows up once in a while.
Oh, sorry, I had to work last time.
Nah, I'm joking, dude. I'm doing fantastic. I'm extremely tired today. I just got done working a 13-hour shift, so I'm like beat, and I'm pretty pumped to be talking some minor league stuff right now.
Yeah, and that's really what we're going to be doing all day today. We're joined by Hunter Noll of BoSox Injection. How are you doing, Hunter?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really happy to have you here today with us.
Excited to be here.
Hunter covers the minors for the Red Sox for BoSox Injection. Now, I've got a question for you, and I'm always curious about this with people that follow the minors because I started doing it kind of my own way. I was getting paid to do it, and that sort of helps. And then you sort of get more and more invested into it. How did you start following?
I don't think there's anything too interesting about it. I just I was working for a different website right when I got out of college, and it was just one of those things where I was trying to get as much content out as possible, and I was just covering the Red Sox, and it was getting to the point where I felt like I couldn't just keep writing about the same 5 things. I felt everybody else was writing about the same 5 things. You go to any website, and it was Dustin Pedroia or David Ortiz or so I started just like minimally following the minors and doing a little bit on that. And then that was the stuff, as I don't know if this is like, if it's going to sound vain or something, but that was the stuff I noticed the minor league players appreciate it because they don't get talked about as much. So then they share it, and then, their family shares it. And then, so those were always the articles that were doing the best. And then I started, making contacts with some of the players and stuff. And I was like, this is a good way to go about getting more views, getting a slightly bigger following. And then I just ended up really enjoying it. I ended up loving getting to watch the guys when they were 18 years old in low A. And it's like, oh, that guy's going to be good. And then 2 years down the road, he's hitting 180 in high A still. And it's like, I got that one wrong. But then there's the other guys where it's, you look at someone and you're like, oh, I think that guy's going to be awesome. And no one's talking about him. He's not in the top 30. And then 2 years later, he's in double A hitting 300 and everybody's all jacked up to talk about this guy. And it makes you feel a little better about yourself. Like, I can pretend I didn't also say that guy hitting 180 was going to be good, but
definitely feel that when you say like the minor league guys share your content a little bit more. We've had some players on. We've had Cole Cottom on. And
love Cole.
I feel like
that's my guy. I love Cole.
I feel like every time we mention him, and in one of our tweets, like he doesn't share it, but literally everyone in his family will share it and whatnot. And he's a great dude. Like I met him. I got to meet Nick Sogard as well. I'm out in Hartford, so when they play when the Sea Dogs play the what the hell are their names? The Yard Goats.
Yeah.
And I'll go out there, and it's so awesome because now you're invested in these players. You're like, oh, I had them on the podcast.
Yep.
This, that, and the other thing. And it's like, I know these guys. Now I can actually root for them.
Yeah.
It's not like just someone you heard of.
Yeah. Yeah. I've noticed that with Cole Cottom and Chris Murphy. Both of them don't tend to like or retweet stuff if I'm talking about them. But if I'm talking about any of their teammates, it's like immediately, like I'll tweet something out about someone and 3 seconds later, it's like, oh, Cole Cottom, Chris Murphy liked, and I'm like, oh, so I like that. A lot of the players seem to be more excited when they see their teammates getting talked about. So that's always something I like to see. But
yeah, especially when it's somebody that isn't just because somebody like Murphy and even someone like Cottom, they're a bit higher up in the food chain. They've been at it for a bit, 4th round pick. Murphy is considered a top 10 prospect in the organization by some, so it's kind of cool that they root for the guys that maybe you haven't heard of quite as much. I know Brendan Nails, they love that guy, and like same with like everybody in his like he's another one of these guys with like 20 family members that retweet anything that we mention about him. But yeah, so you grew up a Sox fan?
Yeah, my brother's actually a Yankees fan, but my grandfather's a Red Sox fan, and it was just one of those things where, you're 6 years old. I live in Pennsylvania, and you're 6 years old, and you want to root for a team, and just you got your grandfather buying you a Nomar shirt when you're 6, and you got your Red Sox hat, and he's always telling you about some player that you've never heard of, and you see how excited he is about it. And it's just one of those things that trickled down. Didn't work for Tyler, but it trickled down to me, and I got sirens going off. Sorry.
It's okay. You're gonna every now and then somebody's dog flip out. It happens to the best of us. Are you still in Pennsylvania?
Yeah. Yep.
So whereabouts? Are you closer to Pittsburgh or Philadelphia?
About an hour away from Philly, Bethlehem area. I don't know if anyone knows Bethlehem, but Allentown, people might have heard of Allentown. No, okay.
No. Allentown,
It's mentioned in The Office a few times. Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs.
Yeah,
they're like 20 minutes from my house, maybe. So that's nice. I can hit up a lot of AAA games, which I love going to minor league games. It's $10 for a ticket, and it's just so much easier.
Every seat in the house is a good one, at least.
Yeah.
At least the new Worcester Stadium up here is absolutely gorgeous.
My cousin lives there, and I visited them last winter, but I haven't gotten to go to a game yet. That's something I need to do.
Yeah, definitely if you get the shot. Yeah, so nice. So now that we know each other a little better, I went through your top 30 list that you had posted on your Twitter account, and it was interesting because we were talking about this a little bit before the show started, but there were a few names on it that to me at least were pretty noticeably missing. Guys like Miguel Blaze were not there. So I was wondering how you go about your process with these lists and picking out the top 30. How you go about that?
Yeah. Well, I did do it right at the end of last season, so that's one of those things that just like as the next season gets on, then and like we're already halfway through this season, and I've been sitting there thinking to myself like, the amount of things I would change on that list already. But for that, I have a couple rules that the MLB doesn't have for their list. One of them is I don't like putting people on if they've played in the majors at all. They have their whole, like, I think it's 45 days on a major league roster, and then like 120 at-bats and like 50 innings pitched or 30 innings pitched or something like that. So the second someone appears in the majors, I take them off. And that's more just for me to be able to add other people. because I'm like,
Yeah.
does anyone need to see Jaron Duran near the top? Like they saw him for 100 at bats last year. I can just not count him as a prospect. And then
Touche.
I don't like putting people on my list that I haven't gotten to see play yet, which is why like I have Marcelo Mayer at 3. And most people probably would have said he was 1, but he was in rookie ball at that time. So they don't have a stream for that. And I don't like ranking people if I haven't seen them yet. I make an exception sometimes. Like I couldn't not put him on the list. But if I haven't seen them play, I try to stay away from them because I feel like I can't give a proper ranking. I can't give a report on them if I haven't seen them play yet. I can't just look at the box score and be like, oh, in the Dominican Summer League, he hit 330, so let me put him here.
Can't give a proper evaluation on him.
Hunter, have you seen him play now?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm very much looking forward to it because everybody's very excited about him. But
yeah, he's very exciting. I've watched a few of their games. Yeah, especially since he's been back.
He's okay.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
Marcelo Mayer or?
Yeah, Marcelo Mayer.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Ed mentioned Miguel Blaze before. Yes, I've seen a lot of Marcelo Mayer. Yes, he's incredible.
So would you move him up now?
He's easily number 1.
Okay.
I wanted to put him at number 1 last year just because everything about him was how good he was. And I saw the high school tape, but I didn't know how much I could count on that. But I felt wrong putting him ahead of like Tristan Casas and Nick York, who balled out last year. We lost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would put him top 5 in baseball. He's incredible.
Ooh.
He's incredible. I mean, they have him at what, 14 now?
Yeah, 14.
Yeah. So top 5 but top 5, top 10. It's ridiculous.
He already looks like a professional hitter.
He does. That swing's beautiful. He doesn't just swing at anything, which for a 19-year-old is incredible that he's got the patience to be like, let me, wait for my pitch. And he looks really good in the field too.
And he's fast.
So yeah. I mean, I know he's 8 for 8 on steals this year. So I mean, he does everything. It's incredible.
Yeah. And, I could say if it was a week ago, I'd be like, I don't know. The home run power doesn't seem to be there. But he hit 3 home runs this week, and so it seems like because he was out for a bit with that wrist injury.
Yeah.
But it really seems like he's the real deal. And I am with you that it's hard to put a guy when you haven't actually seen them play, when they've only played in like the complex league or what have you.
Yeah.
It's hard to put them above someone like Tristan Casas, who's, like proximity wise, AAA. He's proved it for a while. And I would still honestly rank Casas over Mayer for that exact reason, because there are guys that hit, you hit AA, the curveballs get a little better. The guys have like a backdoor slider. They can sneak in on you. It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder for me, at least, to really gauge someone until they've hit AA. But boy, oh boy, does Mayer seem like that's not going to be an issue. And that actually, and this is a kind of a question for you as well, Tim, which is where do you see him getting brought up to high A? Where do you think he ends the 2022 season? And then what do you think would be realistic? Let's just say things go according to plan. He doesn't get hurt and he hits. Where do you think a realistic time for him to, AA, AAA, and then MLB?
I think MLB could be like 3 years. I feel like that's a fair rough estimate because I would like to see him get a full year of AA and a full year of AAA, and I think he could make it to high A by the end of this year. But that's just where I think, because Chaim Bloom has been like keen on saying guys are getting.
And we're frozen. What'd you say?
Guys are getting what?
Guys are getting close to like a full year at each level of the system for comfortability purposes. And then we're seeing it with Casas. So I think 3 to 4 years is fair where he'll be up.
What do you think, Hunter?
I think that's a good estimate. I love that Chaim does that. I think that so many people are so quick to like, oh well, he's not in high, like why isn't he promoted yet? And don't get me wrong, sometimes I'll fall into that too. But I would rather see, like, he's at what, like 120 at bats this year. Like,
111.
I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him get 200 plus at least, and then for the last month of the season, you put him in high A and you let him get used to it a little bit, and then next year he starts there. And unless he destroys high A, you let him work everything out there. Like, he's 19, he doesn't need to. You don't need to rush anyone, and that's one of the things that annoys me. That's one of the popular comments is always like, "Oh, well, he's so and so's 23 already. Like, when's he going to be in the majors?" Juan Soto was 19. Mike Trout, yeah, Mike Trout and Juan Soto, cool. Like, take your time. The amount of people. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. My favorite thing is like right now we've got issues, with our starting pitchers. We got 2 starting pitchers that are out, and people are already like, call up Bello.
Yeah. Exactly,
like,
and it's like the guy's got 30 innings in AAA. Like, yes, he didn't even have a full season in AA. Relax.
Call up Walters. I'm like, please do not call Walters up. I am excited to see what Walters can bring to the table, but I saw his debut in Worcester, and it did not go that well.
Which is exactly the point. Like, you need to let him get used to the level and then work up to it. And especially, like, you got Seabold and Winkowski. Like, you have so many options that you can go to.
I'm not saying that Winkowski is going to be like what he showed when he was up, when he made his debut and whatnot. But... All right, Penny. But he struggled when he got called up. I know, obviously, you're struggling. It's not like it's the last time you're ever going to be up.
Yeah.
But then people are just like, oh, it should never brought him up, blah, blah, blah. I've gotten into arguments with people about the Jared Durant thing. Actually, I have a question for you because I couldn't get the answer from Ed. Now that I'm thinking of it, I was actually asking this last night on our episode. Can you explain how it is that Jared Durant was called up last year, right? He was called up right after the All-Star break during the Yankee series. He was called up last year. He was called up this year. We understand that was because of the Jackie Bradley Jr. situation. How is it that he still has 3 options?
I, for the life of me, will never understand options. I know it's supposed to be like... I know it's supposed to be like 3 a year.
Someone fucking message us and tell us how it is that he has 3 options left because there was no COVID situation last year that brought him up. Like, please, someone listening to this, just like message the podcast and just say, hey, this is how. Because
it just seems like there's so many ways for teams to get around it and just be like, oh, well, we called him up because of, I don't know if because injury doesn't count or something, or taxi squad. I don't know what it is, but it's ridiculous. I mean, he's been called up over 3 times this year, I think, right? Or at 3 times now.
I think it's been twice, and there was that thing with the Bradley's paternity leave, and then he got called up again for like 1 game when Kike was on like the what was it? He was on like the COVID list for like 1 day.
Yeah, it's been twice.
But like everybody's so like, and even like the big writers are just like, oh, maybe it'll be Duran next time, and that's always my thought process too. Is I'm like, when isn't he running out of options? Like, how are we doing this? So yeah, I'm sorry, I can't answer that for you.
It's time sorcery.
I do know that if like he gets called up once and they use like the option, they can send him up and down as much as they want, just like they did with Tanner Houck last year. I mean,
well, isn't that something that they're trying to change too?
Well, it's 2022. I think they're trying to do that.
They said like that messes with like their pay and
service manipulation.
So they were like, we gotta do something with that because minor league players get treated like crap as it is. So let's not add to the list.
Yeah, seriously though, understatement of the century there. But what do you think of the decision to bring up Rob Refsnyder over Duran in this like earlier last week and DFAing Jonathan Arauz?
I mean, I don't think anybody can complain about Refsnyder right now after that ridiculous
Especially
catch.
Schreiber. Did you see what Schreiber posted?
No.
And he was like, what a play. Let's go get a steak on me or something like that.
I mean, that was insane. And I don't think that was ever.
Ball was past him.
Yeah, that was. I saw
a Jackie
someone
Bradley
say, like,
play.
yeah, someone said it was like Cocoa Crisp. I mean, that was ridiculous. But I like RAUs, but I mean, I think he was hitting sub 200 in AAA. He's never really shown that he could be a decent hitter, a good hitter in the majors. I couldn't tell you his major league numbers, but I could tell you that they weren't very good. And he's a good defender, but I feel like he made a couple mistakes a few times when he was up. So I don't think it's a move that there's a chance no one even claims him or anything. And if they lose him, it's kind of like whatever. You want to free up 40 man spaces anyway. I don't know how long Ref Schneider's going to be here, but I think at this point, as long as you're keeping some 40 man spaces ready for the Rule 5 and everything, it's whatever. He probably would have been gone by the end of the year anyway.
Yeah, I mean, he's somebody that I think you can sneak through there. And even if you can't, there are other players that fill that gap. I mean, Ryan Fitzgerald, I think, is already ahead of him on the depth chart. You have Jeter Downs on the 40-man roster, who I would consider. He hasn't been great this year, but I'd still consider him above, especially defensively, above Arauz. But people are mad about Ref Snyder over Duran, or at least they were before that Ref Snyder catch the other day. And I don't know how to explain to people that it's not a good idea to have three left-handed hitting outfielders, none of whom are good at hitting lefties.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Ed, especially when they were facing the reigning Cy Young winner, Robbie Ray.
Yeah, exactly. It's just I don't know how to, like, the amount of like that I've seen that come up, like, especially on Twitter. Like, I think I had a small stroke from it.
Yeah, because then if they call up Duran and he goes 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, then all of a sudden it's all, oh, Duran can't hit in the majors. Why are you calling him up? And it's like, well, because they put him in a bad situation. Like, they made the right move for the right situation. And
what are your thoughts on how Franchi Cordero's changed his game?
I mean, the fact that he's not striking out every at bat now is nice. Because that was something that was so frustrating last year, was all people talked about, and he did it when he was in AAA. Anytime he put the bat on the ball, it was going 150 miles an hour, and it was like, dear Lord, this guy can piss on a baseball. But when he was in the majors, it was all strikeouts and pop outs, and it was rough to watch. So it's good to see him. Clearly he's worked with someone on, I don't even want to say it's his eye, it's just patience. He's not swinging at the first pitch anymore and not putting himself into bad counts. So, I mean, that's been phenomenal to see. I don't know. I mean, he's back to hitting around 200, I think. But last I saw, I think it was 215. I don't know what it is right now. But, I mean, still, though, he's drawing a decent amount of walks. He's got 4 homers or something. Like, he's playing well. The drop fly ball was ugly. But
you know what? I was watching that, and it still sucks. I'm not going to say it doesn't suck. But where he was when that was coming at him, he was in the sun, and when he came in, it was like there was a shadow. So, I mean, it makes sense. It still sucks, but it's like you still got to make that play. But
yeah, but it's not like it was the easy pop fly everyone thinks it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Hunter, you had. I was looking at your list. You had Nathan Hickey at 19, and he's been actually performing really good. He's hitting 256 with 4 home runs, 30 RBIs, and an 856 OPS. So I was just wondering if you'd rank him a little bit higher now that you've seen some more out of him.
Definitely. One of my favorite things with prospects is when they draw walks, just because that's one of those things that I don't think that's something that will go away. Like, sometimes you'll see, oh, this guy hit 30 home runs in low A last year, and then he gets to double A and he hits 12 because it's different pitching. I mean, there will be pitchers hitting their spots better, but it shows that he has an eye. And I know he's got 34 walks to 34 strikeouts this year, which is incredible. Defense definitely needs to improve.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has one of the best hitting tools I've seen for a catcher in a while.
He looks good at
I mean,
the plate.
Francisco Alvarez for the Mets right now obviously is a little bit higher than everyone else, but yeah, Nathan Hickey's definitely moved up a couple spots at least.
Yeah, speaking of walk drawing, there you actually had a guy at number 30 on that list, Pedro Castellanos, who's sort of the opposite there, where he's been on a tear ever since May. He had one of the. I thought he was on his way out of the organization.
It was scary. It was bad.
Yeah, and then something clicked, and he just went rip shit for the month of May, and still on that. He's still on that tear. I think he's got like seven home runs, 14 doubles. He's got his average.
He leads the
like
team in RBIs. He's up to like 264 or something like that.
Yeah, and that's Portland, which doesn't really hit that well, other than like him and Granberg, and I guess Cedon Rafaela now that he's there. But it's not. He doesn't have much protection in that lineup, and he's been putting up those numbers. So what's your read on Castellanos? Do you think he's got a big league future? Where are you at with him?
He's really hard to tell because I know when he first came in, the big thing with him was like, oh, he's got ridiculous raw power, and then his first year, I think he hit like one home run in like 100-something at bats, and it was like, and then the next year he had like 2 going into the last month, and then he hit like 7, and it was like, oh, there we go. And I think last year he hit like 13 and it was his career high. The walks to strikeouts is a really big issue. I think he's at like 60-7 or so, or like 50-7 or something like that, which is just ugly.
Yeah, it's not a great situation there for him.
Yeah, but he hits the ball hard. Like even that first month, there was a lot of bad luck. It was a lot of like hard line out to the third baseman or a running play by the center fielder. I don't know where he would fit in though. Like he's a right-handed bat, which is nice, but I mean, he can play corner outfield and first base, which helps a little bit. I think he has a major league future. I sadly don't think it's with the Red Sox, but I think he'll go somewhere, and in like 2 years he'll hit like 280 with like 20 homers for a season, and people will be like, we could have had him. And I think he'll be a good player. I think he'll have like that one solid year, but I think it'll be with a different team. He'll go to like the Mets or something and have a good year, and then it's the Mets, so he'll get hurt or something. But
yeah, I mean, there's definitely not every player that makes it in the majors is going to be, like 600 plate appearances, 700 plate appearances.
Yeah.
There's definitely a role though for guys that have versatility like Castellanos does, who plays a few positions, has some experience now. I think he's 24, so he's been around. He's been around for a bit. He's Double A isn't terrible if you're 24. I think I'm hopeful,
especially with that COVID year. You got to throw that COVID year.
Yeah,
it's really messed up a lot of people's projections. And
a ton of. And I mean, even guys that are higher up on the pecking order, like look at Jeter Downs, who basically skipped Double A and then didn't really get a chance to play because of that. I don't know how much that's messed up his development, but he's
I think that did a lot of damage to him, because I think the Red Sox kind of panicked because you trade Mookie, every fan's pissed, so I think they kind of wanted to rush Jeter Downs and hope that they could be like, look, we made the right move. And I think it was something insane like 11 or 12 at-bats in Double A.
Yeah, it was just about nothing.
Yeah, and then the next year was COVID, so he didn't play. And then he gets to the Red Sox, and it's just immediate Triple A. And I think that really hurt his development. But
yeah,
he's looked a little better this year. The OBP's up, the slugging's up, but they're still not good numbers.
Sorry. This is a regular. When we got her, she wasn't that borky, and she's become very borky in the last. She's become overconfident. That's the problem.
She's upset you're spending time not with her.
I mean, pretty much, yeah. We just spent the entire weekend with her.
You didn't spend enough time with her today.
Yeah, apparently I did not. But so Going to what you said there as far as that trade, what's been your favorite move that Bloom's made as far as just bolstering up the system here? What move has stood out the most to you?
Not counting draft picks, right? Obviously.
Yeah, well, we can do one free, one trade, one draft pick, and one signing. So that could be like a minor league signing.
I mean, honestly, I really like the Hunter Renfroe trade. I like Hunter Renfroe, but one, his real first name's not Hunter, so how dare he? And two, just he was a good player, but I feel like a lot of people forgot that was like.
Hold on. His name's Dustin? I feel like I should have known that.
I didn't know that either until just now.
I don't even remember how I found that out. I don't know if like I was looking up his stats one day and Baseball Report or Baseball Reference or something had the first name, but I just remember that it wasn't Hunter, and I was like, oh, that's a little disappointing. But
I mean,
this guy's a phony.
In fairness, Ortiz's last name isn't Ortiz.
Oh, don't tell me that.
True.
It's Arias.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
I saw it on a baseball card. I was like, "Who's this guy?"
The
Like,
only reason I know is
stuff?
that's the only reason I know is because I have his rookie card with it on it.
Oh, that's why. Did he go by that his rookie year?
Yeah.
He went by
wild.
that. I believe it was with the Twins is when he stopped using his real last name.
Huh. That's interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, you see that every now and then, especially with players from overseas, like where their last name will just change for whatever. I mean, I think it's also just different with some Latin American cultures. There's like the two last names.
Yeah.
Didn't Stanton change his first name?
Yeah,
He was Mike.
It was Michael Stanton, and then he changed it to Giancarlo. I'm changing my name to James, guys. So.
But yeah, just I feel like a lot of people forgot that Renfroe was a very below average player before last year, and the Red Sox sold high on him. I mean, I know you could, Jackie Bradley Jr. is not good. One, dude's playing decent this year. A massive upgrade defensively.
He wasn't the trade piece.
Exactly, though. That's the thing. Is like that wasn't the main point of the trade.
Argument. I have gotten into that argument so many times with people. Like I get banned on Facebook because I get into arguments. And there are literally like people on there that are just like, I can't believe we traded Hunter Renfroe for this bum. I'm like, we did it.
Yeah.
It was literally like we wanted it was Hamilton and
Benelis.
And Benelis. And they were like, oh, we're gonna throw in this overpaid outfielder that we thought was gonna be good. Like and your guys are gonna take that paycheck and you guys are gonna pay him. And it's like, all right. Well, at least he's a better defender.
No,
yeah,
I mean, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you have the people that are also like, oh, they're so cheap. They're just trying to get prospects, so they're dumping our starting right fielder. And it's like, we just bought 2 prospects by getting a more expensive right fielder. Like do you know, like Benelis is almost like the year beforehand, he was considered a first-round talent, and then he broke his wrist. That was like a first-round pick that they effectively got, and an additional one. And I mean, he's been a little bit slower lately, but I mean, the guy's still drawing 1 million walks. He has 12 home runs in high A. Like
that swing works opposite field so nicely.
I saw your tweet about that.
I honestly think every single one of his, or probably not every one, but like 9 or 10 of the 12 have been opposite field. It's ridiculous.
I just saw your tweet about that. You're like, I just found something out, but now this likes going Oppo and he hits dingers.
It's every one of them, because I know the one series he kept hitting them into the apartment buildings on the left field wall, and it was like he hit like 3 that series, and every single one of them was into the apartments. It's ridiculous. And then Hamilton, I think he's hitting like 229 right now, but that speed is insane.
That dude's
23 steals. Like, come on.
Yeah,
You could figure something out with that. If he can hit 240 in the majors.
So I have a question for you. This one's kind of an odd one. So you got your home run power guys at each level, right? Who do you think has the slowest trot?
Ooh. Oh, that's a good question. I mean, Nico Cavadis is just slow in general, so he might be up there.
I'm watching this video of Big Joe Davis taking the base.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Bases, and I'm just like, wow. Like, I'm slow, but I think I can go a little bit. He's a big boy too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not only is he taking his time, his top speed just isn't very high. So that's a light jog for him. Yeah, that might be the answer. I was thinking Cavadis, maybe Castellanos. I did not think of Big Joe Davis, and he's been hitting a lot of homers lately.
Yeah, he's been red hot. 3 of the last 3 games for him. Oh, sorry, Tim.
Who's faster, Big Joe Davis or Kevin Plawecki?
Oh man, that's tough.
We might need to get them. We might need to get them lined up.
I'm going to answer that for you guys. And it's Big Joe Davis. Here's
I was
why.
gonna guess Big Joe Davis.
Ever see Indiana Jones: Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah.
I have, but you're going to ask me something.
That boulder at the beginning of it is pretty fast. And that's basically what Big Joe Davis is. He's like that boulder gained sentience and hits a lot of home runs.
It's a good point. Yeah, I'd go Big Joe Davis though. Yeah, he's younger. Doesn't have to crouch all the time. Got the knees working for him a little bit. I'll give him the upper hand.
I'd agree.
Right. So who's your favorite draft pick then? If that's your favorite trade, the Jackie Bradley, which by the way, completely agree with you. I thought was a great last second surprise before we went to lockout.
He was at Mookie's wedding when he got the phone call.
That's just awesome. Yeah, that's incredible.
And then who was he? He was there with like a coach or something, and he couldn't talk to them about it or something like that. Oh, it was. I was reading the story. It was crazy.
Yeah, which just seeing him and Mookie in a room together is nice in the first place, but
miss those killer days.
Yeah, that was a fun time. I don't think. Well, Rafaela was a signing anyway, and I don't think he was under Heim. It might be a boring one, but I might go with Nick York just because people were so against it when it happened. The whole narrative was like, oh, he was projected to go late first, and they're taking him now. And it was like he saw the guy he liked, and he took him. And it's just fun seeing everyone all of a sudden being like, oh, when's Nick York getting here? So I might just be boring and go with a first-round pick, but
it's not a bad one.
That was the other one, but that one felt even more boring because that was like the consensus number 1 pick, and somehow he fell to 4. And I mean, which I'll still never understand. I tweeted one of his homers the other day, and like 5 of the quote tweets were Tigers fans just saying, like, Alavia is never going to live this down. Like, I can't wait to get rid of Alavia. Like, so I mean, that's one that I think the Pirates fans probably aren't too upset because Henry Davis has looked insane, and getting a catcher is always fun. But I think most fans are going to be upset that they didn't get Marcelo Mayer. So
you think the Rangers are going to be upset?
Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Pitchers are a little bit harder though. I think when it comes to grading, like they're just scary as prospects.
Yeah.
One elbow issue, and like sometimes with Tommy John, people come back and throw harder and a better snap on their curveball or something. But pitchers are terrifying.
Yeah, and it's not every time either. I mean, that's why somebody like Kumar Rocker last year, he had like some injury issues and it freaked out the Mets so much.
Guys, not prospect news. This is big news for the team, for Boston. Chris Cotillo just posted up that Chris Sale took an encouraging step on his road back Monday hitting 96 miles per hour in a live
Oh.
batting practice session. And it was his first time facing hitters since February.
That's awesome.
96.
That's awesome.
96 sounds like a good closer speed.
I'm so happy with Hap there. I don't want them to change that. I want Hap to be the closer for the rest of the year.
I just want whoever's going to get saves. I don't care who it is.
Yeah, no, that's
as long as it's not fucking Robles.
Yeah, he's what happened there? He was so reliable for it's just you put him in the 9th inning and he just can't throw strikes.
That first month of the season, he was like the guy in the bullpen, and then he just kind of something happened. It's weird. I mean, like with Kimbrel, where it was like he was so reliable in save situations, and then anytime they put him in like, we're up by 4, it's a tie game. It was like, well, Kimbrel's finding a way to blow this. And it's like the opposite with Robles. It was like you put him in the 8th inning, he's nails, but you put him in the 9th in a closed situation, he's going to do something.
You put him in the 9th, he gets you 2 outs, and he'll get you 2 strikes on that third batter. But for some reason, he'll find a way to blow that up, and it's so annoying.
Yeah, I remember that happening earlier in the year too against like the Angels, but it was like he let like Trout and Ohtani on base, and I was like, well, I get why he wouldn't want to pitch for them, but it's like it's been just about every time he's been in the 9th, it's like a little too consistent. So if that's your draft, then what's your instead of Bloom, how about Dombrowski? Who do you like of the guys that he brought in?
You can't say if you say anything other than Tristan Casas, you're an asshole.
Am I allowed to say signings though?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, because
signings.
all right, well then I'm going to Cedar Rafaela. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm an asshole. I'm going to Cedar Rafaela.
I'm just saying, like he was a pick. So,
but if I'm playing by the correct rules and I'm going pick, then yes.
Yeah.
It's
no, I was
Tristan Casas.
Oh yeah, no, but I was saying anybody that came in because I think there's a case for Brian Bello there also because
That's fair.
Another Dombrowski guy. But that's a good segue though because last week Cedar Rafaela got promoted from high A to double A, and one of the first of the lower guys moving up to double. We've had a few guys go from double A to triple A this year, pitchers, but we haven't seen a lot of movement at the lower levels. So why don't you tell us a little bit about Cedar Rafaela, Hunter?
How much time do you have?
Oh, we've got about 15 minutes left.
I see a lot of people now tweeting whenever there's a video of Cedar Rafaela batting, like, oh, it's Mookie Betts. And one of the things I've compared him to Mookie and Altuve in the past, because the stereotypical, because he's the same like height, size type thing, but because he's got like that surprise pop in his swing, like nobody would expect it. He's got a little bit of a free swinger problem that I've noticed. Like sometimes he'll get 2-0 or 3-1, and it's like you can just tell he's like, all right, well, I'm swinging at this pitch. And sometimes that leads to him hitting 400-foot homers. Other times it leads to him barely making contact with a slider outside and grounding out to second. But I honestly do think some form of Mookie and Altuve is a good comparison because he plays multiple positions, which, I mean, Mookie ended up just playing right, but he could play second. But Gold Glove defense, I truly believe that he will win a Gold Glove in the majors, and I don't think it matters where he plays. I think his best defensive position, center field, or any outfield, but I think it would be smart to put him in center. But shortstop, he's great. Third base, he's solid. Second base almost feels like probably feels like more of a waste to put him at third, but second base, don't waste that arm at second base. The dude's got a cannon. A really accurate arm too. And then the fact that he can get you 20 steals and 30 homers. The guy's terrifying. He's 21. He was really good last year in low A. But I feel like a lot of people were overlooking him just because I think he hit 251. But I mean, he had 20 doubles, nine triples, I think, 10 homers, 20 something steals. And then this year, just, I mean, so whatever clicked at the end of last year, because he went on a little bit of a tear at the end of last year, clearly was like a permanent thing because he's been insane this year. He hit 330 in Double A or High A. He's hitting better than that in Double A. I don't know what it is, but I know he's up to 332 now. I had him as my 10th best prospect going into the season. And when I did that, I felt like I had him too low or high. I don't know how to word it, but I felt like I could have put him a few spots higher. But I was kind of a coward about it because I was like, he's not on the Red Sox top 30. Or he might have been like 30 at that time. But I don't think he was, though. I don't think he was on the Red Sox top 30 at the time. Nobody really knew who he was. I was like, I don't want to put him at like 6. And then everybody's like, oh, who the hell's this guy? Like, so I was like, maybe if I put him behind a few bigger names. I know I did put him ahead of, I had Jeter Downs at 11, but this might sound ridiculous. I don't think there's 100 prospects better than him in baseball. I would legitimately grade him as a top 100 prospect. And obviously I don't watch every minor league game. I try to watch every Red Sox minor league game, but so I think I've seen enough of other teams where I'm like, this guy's not better than Cedar Rafael. I'll watch, 6 games in a week, and the dude will have. And I know you can't base someone off 6 games, but somebody will have 12 strikeouts and 3 errors, and they don't look good in the field. And I'm like, how is this guy better than him? I don't. So that's my big overreaction pick. Is I don't think there's 100 prospects better than him.
Yeah, Brad.
So we kind of touched on it a little bit before we started recording, and I wanted to get it recorded on the them playing 6 games in a row now against the same team. Do you think that actually is like that benefits them, or is it disadvantaged?
I think it fits them in the sense that the minors are cheap. So I know that they're traveling on buses and they're probably not.
I'm just talking about the players. I'm not talking about the.
I know. I'm saying the players. I'm saying like traveling in buses. If you're doing it multiple times a week, I could see that being an issue. I could see that being like, 3 days here. Now we have to do a 6-hour trip back to Portland, or it's probably longer than that. Like if you're playing in Asheville, North Carolina to Portland, Maine, that's probably a 12-hour trip or something. I can't imagine that's fun sitting in a bus with 40 grown men. But I do. So I think it benefits them in the sense that they probably stay a little looser and they're probably not as uncomfortable. But I just don't like having such a big difference to the majors. It's like, because you get 6 days against one team and you have the off day Monday and then 6 days against a new team in a new city. And I just like, it's just such a, like, I feel like that would be a weird transition to go from that to all of a sudden, we got 3 games in LA, then we're flying to Boston for 7. And then we have a day off, and then we got 4 in Tampa, and then 2 in New York, and then 2 back in Boston. And I don't like the uniformity of all that. It's weird.
See, I didn't start really paying attention to minor league until probably like last year, and then this year it like dawned on me that they have Mondays off. And has that been a thing like forever?
It was a thing last year, I can tell you. That was the first time I ever noticed it, because I've been doing my prospect watch for a few years, and I always just used to kind of put it out on a day. Like whenever I would be like, oh, there's only one. So I never noticed it. And then last year, like the second time I did it, I was like, oh, no team plays on Monday. So I'll finish it Sunday night so that it's out on Monday. So at least for the last 2 years, I couldn't tell you if it's been any longer than that though.
I believe that was a COVID thing, wasn't it? That they started doing. Yeah,
that makes sense.
That would make sense.
Yeah, I believe that's where that.
They need to cut the shit out. Let's go back.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I do some of the teams I do like seeing more than like the 3 because they've got some fun guys on it. But then there are other ones.
I
Where
think
it's
it can
just
be fun
like,
for the fans, yeah. But I
Like-
just think it's just a weird dynamic for the players.
When Portland comes down to Hartford, I'm like, all right, I got 6 days. I can go see.
Yeah,
the
like
Sea
that's
Dogs.
nice. That's got to be nice for the fan there. Yeah.
I don't know anybody who's a Rockies fan in Connecticut.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the more random placements. It's like when the San Jose Sharks had their minor league team in Worcester for hockey. It's just kind of confusing.
Yeah, they're just
Like,
kind of there, and yeah.
We're gonna call this guy up from AA. He's got to fly like 6 hours over to Colorado.
Oh man, so we've got about 10 minutes left. Tim mentioned that there was a question somebody asked that he got DMs. What was the question for us?
The question was if Gilberto Jimenez's stats were legit and how he's looked compared to what the hype once was. And if I am not mistaken, on Hunter's list, he had him at 5.
I did.
Oh wow, that was so you had him there because he was still top 10, I think, on Sox prospects going into last year, and then he was around 18. But he hasn't done badly this year. He really
the big issue with him has been the strikeouts, which was that was always one of the big things for me. Was like, oh, he puts the ball in play, and then he bulked up and tried to start hitting homers, and like, I mean, he has a career high 5, but he's striking out too much. I don't like that. Like, dude, you're fast, man. Just put the ball on the ground and get there.
And for a guy
I remember seeing him hit a ball to second base and beating it out. I think that was last year.
That was opening day of last year. He hit
I remember that
ground ball to first base because I was like, oh, this is his year. That's insane. A routine ground ball to second base, and he just beat it out.
And people were like, oh yeah, wait until he hits it to a major leaguer. It's like, come on. Like
that doesn't make him slower. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like the dude beat a ball to second base. Like, I don't care what level you're at. Like, you're at like single A, double A, whatever.
Hit the ball to me at second base. I still think that's impressive.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, second base, I mean, you don't have to have that great of an arm to throw a guy out there.
Exactly.
Like, you can. So here's my thing with Jimenez. I'm just looking at his numbers right now. And yeah, the power's definitely up.
He's hitting what, 282?
276, 327 on base percentage, 427 slugging percentage at high A. And he's still only 21. Like, I feel like he's been in the system forever, but like he's still pretty young. For a guy that's as fast as he is, he gets caught stealing a lot.
I've tried to see, but the issue is, I mean, high A, they don't have great camera angles.
No.
So you usually don't get to see, like, I'm interested, like, is he just bad at taking jump? Like, is he bad at timing when to go? Because he's so fast, but it might even been yesterday, he got thrown out by like 5 feet.
Yeah.
Like, the ball got there as he started to slide, and the guy was just like waiting to tag him. And I was like, how? And
then meanwhile, you have a guy who's the same age as him, Alex Pinellas, has 7 stolen bases and hasn't gotten caught yet, and is emphatically not as fast as Gilberto Jimenez. It's interesting with that. Like, do you think that that's something that he can be taught how to get a better read?
I absolutely think that's something that they could figure out. At least, I'm not saying it's going to be to the point where he's Juan Pierre, but if you can get him to just figure it out a little bit, there's got to be something where they could be like, hey, notice this with the pitcher. Like, I don't know if it's like he's scared that he's going to get picked off, so he waits too long. So maybe they're like, hey, when the pitcher does something with his L or something, there's got to be a way to get him to take a slightly, whatever it is, the jump or the, I don't know. It's got to be that. But
he's got to pay more attention to like the pitcher's legs when they're going to throw home and stuff. It's like instinct stuff.
Yeah. Which I think can be taught to a sense.
Yeah, he's still young.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that type of speed, they're going to try and get him to learn how to read the pitcher, especially like when they're going to make their move towards home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Tim is if this is your first time listening to it, he tends to focus on the Salem players. So is there anybody besides Mayer you want to talk about today?
I wanted to talk a little bit about Blaze Jordan just because of like the pop really hasn't been there, and that's kind of been like worrying me a little bit. He does only have 3 home runs right now, so that's been a little bit of a concern. But the team is on a 6-game skid, which is also a little bit worrisome. But they're still 28 and 29, so they're not that bad. And then the name that you gave me, Joey Stock, the right-handed pitcher, he's pitched in 17 games. He's looked pretty decent. He has a 2.57 ERA. So yeah, that's a name to keep looking at, like you mentioned. And that's really all I have this week.
What was his name?
Yeah, so-
Joey what?
Joey Stock.
Joey Stock.
I thought you said sock. I was like,
No,
I had a
Oh,
feeling
wish.
that's what you thought.
no, Joey Stock.
Wish. I want Joey Sock. I want Joey Sock on this team yesterday.
Joey Sock on the Red Sox.
Yeah. So what's going on with Blaze Jordan? What do you think, Hunter? Do you think that he's trying something different with his swing?
I mean, he's got 18 doubles. I do think he's hitting the ball hard. I think it's just something that, like you said earlier with Marcelo, dude had one homer, and it was like, oh, where's the power? And then he hit 3 this week, and it's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
I think that it might be a little bit of a concern because we are getting, we're over 2 months into the season, and he's got 3 homers, and it feels like forever since he's hit one. But his average has been climbing rapidly for the last few weeks.
Yeah, him and Castellanos started off so slow
Yeah.
this year. And now they're both hitting.
And Jordan was, I would say, a little bit more worrisome just because the younger guy, the more prominent prospect at a lower. I mean, I know he's 19, but at a lower level. So it was like if Castellanos fell off a cliff and hit 160 all year and got dropped, no one would have cared. But if Blaze Jordan did it, all we would have heard was, oh, Heim can't draft. Oh, why did, it would have been miserable. But he's been hitting a lot of doubles lately. The average has gone up. He's drawn a decent amount of walks. So I'm not really worried about it at the moment.
That's fair.
Especially with, Hickey's got 4 homers, Cavadas has 7, Myers got 4. So I think there's enough going on there that it's not, people haven't noticed. Edison Paulino has a couple homers.
He's got like a million triples too. Paulino. That guy's just the average doesn't show just how good of a hitter he's been this year.
It's something I noticed real early on was he was hitting like 220, but I was like, I feel like every time I watch him, every time he's up to bat, he's hitting like a 2-run double or a 2-run triple.
Yeah.
He's been an exciting player.
Yeah, Paulino's a lot of fun to watch. Do you know much about Joey Stock?
It's really hard to pay attention to the pitchers again, just because of how bad the camera work is in low A. No disrespect to the cameramen, but I'm sure most of them are just plopped down somewhere.
The camera that's just sitting there.
Yeah, you're right. No disrespect to the camera, but but they he's looked real good. He's a lot of the issues with pitchers in Salem, and I think it's mainly just a lot of young guys. So the control hasn't been great. There's been a lot of walks. I think he's one of the few guys that it hasn't been as big of an issue, which is nice. It's one of those things when Joey Stock's in the game, you're not like, oh, we're going to get 5 straight 3-2 counts. So it's always nice to see him come in and be like, oh, the game's going to go a little bit faster. I do think, I could be wrong, I do think he's like 22 already, though.
Yeah, he was one of the older guys. He was an unsigned free agent that they gave. Yeah.
So that's one of those things I'd like to see him at the next level, just to see what. And as an undrafted guy, like, it makes sense to put him in low A and see how he works for a while. But I think he's done enough that I wouldn't mind seeing him get moved up.
Yeah.
Soon.
So we're almost done here, but speaking of undrafted free agents is one other thing I wanted to mention, and that's that friend of the show, Brian Van Bell, was promoted to Double A today.
Oh wow,
He's going to be starting
That's
next
awesome.
week there after got off to a real slow start, but he's
been real good lately.
Yeah, throws. I mean, I like that they use him like a real starter too. Like they'll just keep him in.
He'll get you 6 innings.
And he had some games. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say he's had some games where he's just gotten blown up for like 10 runs, but for the most part, he's been reliable.
And all those were real early on too. So it's one of those things where it's annoying. I know, like I put him in my prospect watch the other week, and I like put his stats down, and I was like, look, I know a 6.2 ERA looks bad and a 1.5 WHIP looks bad, and I think he had like a 330 batting average against, but he'd been. Like his last 5 starts were 5 innings, 1 run, 6 innings, 2 runs, 5 innings, no runs, 5 innings, 1 run. Like the guy's a good pitcher. It's just
terrible.
It's the same thing as last year, where he had a couple really, really ugly outings, and the rest of the year he was a really solid pitcher. And I'm happy that fans don't make the assessments on that stuff, because 90% of fans see those stats and they're like, oh, this guy's trash, get him off the team. But the management actually pays attention to oh, this guy's been awesome for the last month. Oh, this guy, even in that game where he gave up 5 runs, he went 6 innings and only threw 80 pitches. He's very unsung for what he can do. So I'm interested to see what he can do with Double A.
Yeah.
And like you said, he's an undrafted guy too. Out of Miami.
Yep. All right. So who do you think comes up to the majors first for pitchers?
Now, are we talking Seabold and Winkowski, or are we talking guys that haven't been there yet?
Guys who haven't been there. I'm not even going to say that Winkowski is I don't really consider that he wasn't up for more than a game. So he was just a spot start basically, and he's probably starting on Thursday this week.
So you mean full time? Who's
coming up and who's going to stay? Who's going to be the next Tanner Houck?
I'm going to say, I think it's either going to be Andrew Politi or Frank Herman. I think they could really use bullpen help, and I think both of those guys have been stellar this year. They've been ridiculous.
Herman's so good.
His stuff's nasty.
Did you see when he struck out those 3 guys in order against, I think it was the Scranton team? It was 3 backwards Ks.
And and when you can get someone looking, that's always when you can get 3 guys looking, that's just. But it's just so interesting because Politi and Herman were both starters last year, and both of their numbers were miserable. And Herman moved to the bullpen at the end of last year, looked good. But it's just crazy to see how much better their stuff plays in the bullpen. So I think it'll be one of them, because I think the easier issue to solve is a bullpen guy. You throw one of them in there. They have a couple good games. It's like John Schreiber, where it was he'll play 3 games and he'll get sent down. And then he was so good that it was oh, no, he's in there now.
Yeah. And he's buying steaks for Ref Schneider.
Exactly. But starters, I think it's going to be Bayo, because he's just been so consistently good at AAA, where Walters only had 2 starts. One of them was really bad. One was really good, but
good.
And I know he's older, so there might be more of he can get there quicker, but I don't see any reason why Bayo can't get called up by the end of this year with the Red Sox now back in the playoff hunt.
I could see it as an August sort of thing where he comes in as a reliever for the end of the year, and then the next year he gets a tryout.
And then next year he's spring training. It's let's see what you can do in the rotation, and if you're good, you're there.
Yeah, and then we get to hear all the fans. And we get to hear all the fans talk about how he needs to stay closer.
Kind of like how Whitlock should have stayed in the bullpen.
And that's that. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say that's the issue, is so many pitchers get called up as bullpen help when they're first called, just because it's the easier transition. And then fans fall. And it's dude, a closer's great, but you need to have someone that can get to the relievers. Like, yeah, having a dude that can get you a shutout inning in the 8th inning is awesome. But if your starter gave up 9 runs in 5 innings, it doesn't matter. Like, you need good starters. And everybody's so scared because Daniel Bard, which makes sense. But to me, that one's different because Daniel Bard was a reliever for like 3 years. And then they were like, all right, now let's do it. Like, that dude was already a proven god of a reliever, and they screwed him up. And they wanted to do that with Papelbon, too. But thank God they didn't. I still play old baseball games. Like, I'll play MVP Baseball and MLB The Show 07 just because I'm a nerd. And 07, Papelbon's actually listed as a starter on that game, even though he had like 50 saves the year before. But the plan at the start of the season was Papelbon as a starter. Thank God they didn't do that.
Hey, Hunter, why don't you give everybody your Twitter, your Instagram, or whatever?
Yeah. Just Twitter. I don't really do much on anything else. So it's at Hunter_Noll, Noll. I know a lot of people like to throw the K on there, but there's no K. So at Hunter_Noll on Twitter.
And where can they find your articles?
BoSox Injection. And I would recommend following a lot of the guys there, following BoSox Injection Twitter page. A lot of good guys making great content, a lot of good people. So definitely read everybody's articles. They all deserve it.
Anything else you want to add before this? Before
I think that's it. Thanks for having me on. It's been awesome.
Awesome. Yeah,
Cam,
it was
you
great
got anything?
having you here.
I'm good.
Well,
Sorry
till
for
next
talking
time.
so much.
Keep talking.
Apologize.
Keep talking.
Apologize for what we literally had you here for. Okay? All right. We'll see you next time.
Have a good time.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Pesky Report. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.